Welcome back, guys, to the video. Today we're doing our week 16 NFL picks, and we are officially wrapping up the NFL season. It's been kind of weird. Like, I haven't loved this season because of all the injuries, especially to quarterbacks. I like how some teams that have been bad in the past are actually really good, kind of like the Lions. But overall, it's been a very strange year. And now that we're kind of wrapping up the season, a lot of these games mean a lot more than games, 4 weeks ago did, because now playoff implications are also on the table. And the AFC especially, very, very close. Like, literally seed through probably 6 through 10 or 11. It's all very, very close in through there. So starting out is in the NFC matchup, which is Thursday night against the Saints and the Rams. And so I'm going to pick the Rams in this game. I don't think the Saints are very good. Personally, I think they are very shaky. And my pick for the division winner as of right now for the NFC South is the Buccaneers. And the other thing that makes me want to pick the Rams is I think the Rams are also a bit better than what their record looks. Like, yeah, they're 500, but they've played some pretty close games against some pretty good teams. And the Rams are a team that, personally, I would not want to match up against if I was, like a really good team in the NFC. Like, I think the Rams would have upset potential in the playoffs. I do think the Rams can get in the playoffs for sure. But again, this is a very, very big game for both teams when it comes to playoffs. And next is the Bengals and the Steelers. And personally, I'm going to pick the Bengals in this game. The Steelers season has just really crumbled, and it's crumbled really fast. I think they were 6-3 at one point, and then Kenny Pickett gets hurt, and they have, I think, like 2 safeties get hurt. I know Minkah was hurt. I'm not sure if he's still hurt. They have 1 safety now suspended for the rest of the season, and their offense has just looked still kind of lackluster. And again, now I think Trubisky's been just Mason Rudolph. I don't like where the Steelers are right now in their season. And then meanwhile, the Bengals are actually doing pretty well considering they lost Burrow, and it seemed like all hope was lost. Jake Browning has stepped in, done a very good job. Although now Jamar Chase is out this week for sure, maybe even more with a sprained something joint, AC joint, I think, in his shoulder. So obviously a huge loss for them. But look, at this point, no one gave him much of a chance whenever Burrow got hurt, and that's where they are. So I'm not going to count him out yet. Higgins had an amazing game this past week, so maybe he steps up more with Chase's absence. I don't know. But again, very, very big game, big divisional game, big game in the AFC playoff race. Huge game right there for the Bengals and the Steelers. And also a big game for the Bills. Not really the Chargers. The Chargers season has been over for probably a while now. But the Bills and the Chargers is a big game for the Bills because, again, they are one of those teams that are tied with a lot of other teams in the AFC right now to make the playoffs. And even in their own division, I think there is still a pretty good shot that the Bills can actually win the division. And it's coming between them or the Dolphins right now. But again, it is kind of coming down the wire there. So I'm going to pick the Bills in that one. I think they're much better than the Chargers. Big statement win for them against the Cowboys. And Chargers are just, yeah, they've been a big, big disappointment this year. Now they don't have Herbert. So Bills in that one. Next is the Colts and the Falcons. I'm picking the Colts. The Colts have been a huge surprise. Personally, I thought with Richardson in there, they were going to have a pretty good year as like 5 to 6 wins, but show promise. I was way off, absolutely way off. Even when Richardson was healthy, they were playing well. He was playing very well. It just sucks he got hurt because, I mean, they could maybe even be a couple games better with him. He was balling out whenever he was playing. But props to Minshew for stepping in there, not letting the season go to waste. And they have the Colts at 8-6. And also props to Shane Steichen. Got the letters mixed up there in his name. Shane Steichen, the head coach, for stepping in there. He's done an amazing job turning that team around. Definitely coach of the year candidate. So I'm picking the Colts there. Falcons lost to the Panthers last week. Bad look for them. Colts all the way in that one. Next is the Packers and the Panthers. And as much as I would love to pick the Panthers and say, yeah, they won last week, they're going to get some momentum going, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't see them winning many more than just one more game. I mean, these last 3 weeks, I don't think they get to 4 wins. I think they could get to 3, but definitely not 4. So I'm picking the Packers in that one. If the Panthers are getting another win, I don't see it happening against the Packers. So I'm picking the Packers after their pretty big loss actually at home against the Buccaneers the previous week. I think they bounced back and they handled the Panthers pretty easily there in Charlotte. Browns and Texans. So again, this is a big game for both teams here, really, because the Browns are a game above the Bengals in their division. They are, I think, 2 games back from the Ravens for the division, but regardless, the Ravens have clinched a playoff berth. So again, doesn't matter for the Ravens. Does matter for the Browns, though, because you got to get that wild card spot. They are one game ahead of the team they're playing this week, which is the Texans. Now, personally, I don't know if Nico Collins is back. I think CJ Stroud will be back. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure Stroud is going to be back for this week. But the Browns have played well. The Browns have played very well, and I'm actually going to pick the Browns in this game. I have loved the Texans all year. I really have. But I think the Browns defense gives them problems this week, especially if they don't have Nico Collins in there. Losing Tank Dell a few weeks ago was a huge loss for him already. So I'm picking the Browns in that one. And honestly, it's crazy because if the Browns had Nick Chubb, I mean, they might be 2 games better than what they are right now. I mean, they could be having a phenomenal season. But still, good on them. Having guys step up, trying to get the pieces together despite losing guys along the way. And they are still in position to make the playoffs. So good on the Browns, and I'm picking them to beat the Texans. And then next is the Lions and the Vikings. I am picking the Lions in this game. The Vikings lost a big one last week to the Bengals. They really needed that win. I believe they are still in the playoff picture, and honestly, because it's the NFC, the Vikings could honestly lose this game and probably still make the playoffs because it's not as competitive as the AFC. I'm picking the Lions here, though. If the Vikings happen to win this, it would be huge for them, though, to try and finish out the season and get a playoff spot. But again, Lions, I'm picking them. Huge win over the Broncos after being kind of shaky the previous weeks before that. So I'm picking the Lions there. Next is the Commanders and the Jets. I'm going to pick the Commanders. Both teams are honestly pretty bad, and it doesn't really mean much for either team. So I'm picking the Commanders. I could be wrong there, but honestly, I don't care too much. The game's just kind of pointless. Seahawks and the Titans, though. This matters a lot for the Seahawks. They got a big win over the Eagles just last night, at the time of recording this at least. So, you know, they got to keep that rolling. The Titans, a very winnable game for them. The Seahawks win this and they stand at 8-7. You know, they can very realistically get a wild card spot in there. So I'm picking the Seahawks to win that game. Next is the Jaguars and the Buccaneers. This is my upset of the week. I am picking the Buccaneers in this game. I have honestly, going into this year, I picked the Buccaneers to be bottom 5, bottom 3 in the league. I thought they'd be absolutely terrible. I thought Baker was not the answer. I wasn't blown away by their offense or defense, really. And I was completely proven wrong. And honestly, I'm very happy to proven wrong on this one because I think Baker has really got just done dirty on every team he's been on. The Browns, you know, he took them to the playoffs to the playoffs for the first time forever. And then at the first shot of getting their quarterback with Deshaun Watson, they just throw Baker to the side. Just not the way to handle that, in my opinion. And now the Browns with Watson, he didn't even look great whenever he was playing. But then Baker, from there, goes to Carolina. Terrible, just roster, organization, everything. Didn't give him the tools to really succeed, and he didn't fit well in their scheme, honestly, so which wasn't the best for either sides. Goes to the Rams, has some kind of crazy Thursday night win after only being there for 2 days, and then now comes to the Buccaneers. It started to be like this kind of, you can almost see it happening, you know what I mean, of like this guy going from team to team, and you're like watching in real time as he kind of drifts out of the league. But I think Baker has really saved himself this season. He's played very well. He has the Buccaneers in that spot to win the division, and honestly, like I said, this team could host a playoff game, and in the NFC, they could be playing a not great team in the wild card. Like, this team could make it to the divisional round, which is crazy, but they could. And I am going to pick the Buccaneers. The Jaguars have not impressed me. It was a team I was very high on this year, and they've disappointed a little bit. I still love their offense, but it just hasn't really blown me away like I thought it would. So I am going to pick the Buccaneers in the upset there. Then next is the Cardinals and the Bears. I'm going to pick the Bears here. I think the Bears can technically make the playoffs. The odds are not very high at all, obviously. But I think if they win out and then have other things happen, they can still technically get in. So, got to win out. It's a must win for the Bears. I'm going to pick the Bears in this game. I think they are better than the Cardinals. So, Bears in that one. Dolphins and Cowboys, it's just a huge game for both teams, really. Not really for playoff implications. For the Dolphins, yes, because they need to win the division. I mean, they don't have to, but they could win the division. Cowboys have already clinched a spot regardless. But it's a big game for both teams to kind of show a big statement win. The Dolphins have not beat a team over 500 in a long time. Tyreek Hill didn't play last week. This would be a very big win for them. And another big win for the Cowboys, too, because they kind of got embarrassed by the Bills this past week. So, big game. I'm picking the Cowboys in this game. I'm not sure Tyreek Hill's health. I'm sure he will play regardless. But, again, you know, he's trying to get the record, and it shows a lot how much the ankle was bothering him this past week because he's right there trying to get 2,000 yards, and him not playing shows his ankle was really just not good enough to play on. So, if he does play, he's not 100%, so I'm going to pick the Cowboys in that game. Broncos and Patriots, I'm going to pick the Broncos in this one. Patriots are very, very bad. They had a nice upset win over the Steelers. I don't see them beating the Broncos, though. The Broncos do need this win pretty badly. So I'm picking the Broncos in that one. And then finishing it out, Monday night, Chiefs and Raiders. I'm picking the Chiefs. I think they can handle the Raiders fairly easily. They're in Kansas City. And that is going to do it for my week, what I say, 16? Is this week 16? Yeah, week 16 NFL picks. Let me know down below what your guys' picks are, what your upset of the week is, what your favorite team is doing, if they've made the playoffs, all that kind of stuff. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more NFL videos just like this, because I do week picks every week till the season's out. I'm going to do playoff predictions, Super Bowl stuff, off-season videos predicting players, teams, draft, all that kind of stuff. I also do Madden videos where we do gameplays, pack openings, nobody spent series, and all that. So thank you guys for watching. I do really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.